Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. My name is Katie Gideon, and I will be your on-screen camera facilitator for our Sunday morning week 2 May setup. And I am so glad that you're here. I am dialing in from Edinburgh, Scotland, and I want to give a huge shout out to my co-facilitator, Jennifer O, who will be in the chat. It's definitely another kind of Team Texas weekend. We did this setup yesterday with me as a stage manager and Jennifer on camera. And then maybe some of you, I think for sure Monica, I know, joined us at the journal prompt social yesterday, this time yesterday. So whether you liked it or not, it was going to be kind of an all Katie weekend, which I always love. I certainly enjoy setting up my week with my Sonder fam, and I am so glad that you all are here. As I said, I love seeing our returning socialers. Welcome back. Let us know if this is your first social. Let us know if this is your first weekly social. We always like to see our new folks here. And as always, make sure that your chat is set to everyone. If you want to share it with the larger Sonder fam, if it just goes to host and panelists, that is just to myself and Jennifer, and we can certainly help in those regards, because we do know that the theme of trust can be a little tricky. So sometimes it's just a relief to put it out there in the world, but not necessarily out there to a larger audience. So you can always, start putting in those ideas there. And then also, I know, again, happy Mother's Day for those that celebrate it, for the mother caregivers, but I also know that this can be certainly a little bit of a difficult day for others as well. So we are here to celebrate, but also support those. We are glad that you are here just as you are, and we cannot wait to set up this week with everyone. So as always, be kind and courteous to yourself and others. No promotions or spam. Please respect everyone's privacy. No hate speech or bullying. Limit repetitive product and accessory questions. And then you can ask Jennifer and I some questions, but most of them will probably be redirected to customer care inquiries to our team, which is hello@silkandsonder.com. And then as always, Sonder Socials are a tool to help elevate your emotional health through the power of community, but you are responsible for your own emotions, well-being, and decisions. But we are glad that you're here, again, just as you are. And so no one is going to be grading these. No one is looking over your shoulder to see how much progress or how much you have done. We know that these can be a little bit of kind of a sensory overload when it comes to socials, because you have me talking, you have the slides, you have the chat, you have the music, and then you're also trying to set up your journal for the week. So definitely take what you need from each of those, get those phones or mouses ready to kind of take those screenshots, because there's certainly is a cadence that you can follow, but we always are glad that you're here, and we can't wait to get started. So we are still looking into the theme of trust for this month. And so for me, a lot of this has been kind of an internal pivot. I've been fortunate that I haven't had any significant kind of breaking of trust incidences in my life. I have just found that a lot of times, as I kind of look at the situations that maybe didn't go how I wanted them, or the disagreements, it always still came back to kind of the things that I lost confidence in myself. I was, doubting some of those things. So I realized that the self-trust kind of became a bigger issue when it came to my trust thoughts and concerns about it. So I am looking a lot into that self-trust, and obviously with the quote here, self-trust is the first secret of success, because then I realized so much of it tied into, it really impacts my confidence. It really impacts kind of my day-to-day, enthusiasm. And a lot of that is because I definitely have pretty serious bouts of imposter syndrome. I definitely still come from that perfectionism. I am working on breaking up with perfection, but I'm not type A perfectionist personality. So I do take everything certainly maybe a little bit more personal, but it's always the lessons learned that I try to figure out. And so one of those is that I cannot continue to let those type of incidents that I can and can't control impact my confidence. So that's building self-trust kind of within me. So that's kind of what I am working on. And that is what I would say has been narrowed down kind of my self-care journey. And I am glad that you all are here with us. So we're going to tackle the trust mind map, which is a unique exercise that is not printed in the journal. That is only for the weekly setups. Then we will do our rosebud thorn reflection, as well as move into those weekly setup pages. So if you have not done or set up the trust mind map with us before, like I said, it is not something printed in the journal. You're going to want to find either a blank page in your journal. A lot of folks will use the last page just so it's easier to get to. You're going to break it up into 4 different areas. Each one has their own. I'm on a like kind of vine kick that came from like the Christmas lights back in December. So I've carried that theme through all of these months thus far. And it gives us an opportunity on a weekly basis, because there are going to be 4 weeks that we're going to explore a little bit deeper the unique monthly theme. So we are definitely embracing trust, and we're going to exploring its role kind of in our relationships, personal growth, and overall well-being. We know that there is a delicate balance as we dance with kind of navigating trust, because it has, you know, such positive acknowledgement, but at the flip side, it can be absolutely detrimental in some situations. So as we do that, we've kind of kept a lot of these answers a little bit more open-ended, which I know can be a little tricky, especially this early in the morning to kind of tackle, but it means that you can always kind of explore those now, or you can use the rest of the week to come back and spend some reflection time on those. And as always, we do include the previous weeks, but just because you miss a week doesn't mean you need to play catch up. You can just kind of write these down, but it also means that we do include those. So if you show up late, or if you have to leave a little bit early, they're usually always included in there. So find that mind map that you have. And week 1, we talked about trust to forgive. And so now week 2, we are looking at the trust for strength, which I feel like really hit for me the nail on the head when it came for the kind of strength and confidence and that kind of inner strength and self-trust. So I feel like both of these have gone just really, really well, at least for me and my kind of individual journey with trust. And so here is my example on the right. That's how I've broken it up, went with the purple theme. So embrace trust to unlock greater insights about ourselves regarding trust for strength. So a couple other ways I tried to kind of, you know, reframe it a little bit if you needed a little bit more kind of help or guidance there, was you can break this down into situations that you have needed strength to handle, that you've trusted in yourself to find those strengths as you navigate one of those. And then you can also look at this from a self need for trust or confidence, again, finding that inner strength. And then I know it always is a little tricky to look at, but you can also think about when trust was broken and how you came to find strength in that situation as you look back at it now, or maybe it's something that's currently going on. Or another way to, I think, look at this is, where do you kind of find your inner strength, and then trusting that. And then, as always, give yourself some grace. This can be hard to look into or to explore, so just take a breath, take a beat. And then I always say, you know, don't force what doesn't flow. You can always come back and revisit. But these can also be kind of quotes about versus strengths, affirmations, all of those things. And kind of what I realized as I kind of wrote this, it turned into kind of like a little bit of a mini pep talk. As I was writing it out, a lot of it was like, you know, trust to me is the ultimate strength. I need to trust myself again. It's in my skill sets, you know, trust that I belong, trust that I have what I need, trust that I have those skills that I do, trust that I know when to, you know, deploy them, those type of things. And then self-doubt can be a motivation to rise to the occasion, but don't let it dim your response or shake your confidence. So to me, this became kind of a really pleasant, like, love letter pep talk to myself on the strength that I have and trusting all of those pieces that are there. So that was kind of the direction I went with this week. So we are working on week 2 of our mind map for this month, and we'll give you some time to work on this. Let us know in the chat maybe how you find trust for strength, how you're kind of looking at this, how you're framing it. We would love to have that conversation, and we'll see you soon. Thank you everyone for sharing. What I do like about the prompts being a little bit open-ended is I feel like once you give yourself permission to just kind of start writing, start thinking, it just kind of starts to just kind of explode and move quicker and all the ideas start coming. And I did love that it also kind of turned into mini pep talks for a couple other folks. But Brooke, seeing that you're kind of in that challenging time, looking at it from a slightly different perspective with that trusting in the strength to find the next path, figure out what is to come ahead. I also love now some of the kind of catchphrases that kind of spurred, which was flex our trust muscles this week. So I think that's a great perspective, as well as, you know, sometimes we all associate the kind of lack of confidence or some of those lack of esteem and having how it causes a downward spiral. But if we trust in our strength, we can, you know, flip that and make it an upward spiral of momentum of trusting in the strength, building the confidence, trusting in that confidence, and it becomes this really wonderful cycle that we certainly want to continue to repeat, so that when those instances unfortunately do come up where our trust is challenged or broken, we can certainly look into ourselves and be able to repair those with not only support from others, but a lot of that internal support. So thank you everybody for sharing. Really appreciate it. And so now please join us on page 36 in your May journal for the Rosebud Thorn exercise. This is an opportunity for us to reflect on the previous week, you know, celebrate the highs, acknowledge the lows, and figure out maybe how we want to start, stop, and continue some of those things to either recreate some of those highs or prevent some of those lows in the week ahead. So your rose is going to be something that went well, a win, something that was a highlight, something that you're proud of, something that made you smile. My rose rose, actually, I went and had dinner on Monday with one of our Silk and Sonder family members. They came into one of the socials that I was at and mentioned that they were going to be in Edinburgh, and we connected up. We had a wonderful time. It was like the perfect instant connection of just, going out of the screen. We had so much to talk about. We probably could have talked, well into. And I feel like it was just another one of those fun, instant connections that you had someone so that you just didn't feel as alone in kind of a new place, but traveling and getting excited. So it was so much fun. So I definitely extend the invite. If you ever find yourself in Edinburgh, please let me know. I would love to have tea, dinner, coffee with any of you, especially because it was so much fun. Bud is an emerging opportunity, something that you're looking forward to, something that's exciting, something that is maybe on the horizon that you don't quite know what to think about it, but it's something you can get excited for. For me, I'm actually headed to Ireland on Thursday for a week-long trip. It's one of those kind of set tours that I really just have to show up, do what I'm told, move in about. So I'm really excited. I've never been to Ireland, so it'll be a really fun trip. And the decision-making fatigue in me is happy to take a true vacation where they don't have to do anything other than yes, no, maybe so. And then Thorn, Thorn is a challenger, something that didn't go well this week, something that was a roadblock, speed bump, or something that is taking up too much time and energy in your brain, in your mind, in your life. I feel like some of you guys have been on the light bulb saga with me. Well, it has happened again. And because I am not a certified electrician, I have reached my limitations, but I've got light bulbs out in key places that are just sent me through the roof. Luckily, I had Jennifer earlier, so she got to hear my full rant. But you don't realize how relied you come into those kind of first world things. But man, when they don't work, it is certainly not something I want to spend my time on this week or this much time and energy in. So we would love to hear your rosebud thorns in the chat, because certainly we want to be able to celebrate those roses, hold space for those challenging times. And again, it's a great way to reflect on the type of week that you had. And sometimes it's as simple as, we've got a new week ahead. You started a new book, something to get excited about, a new show. There is nothing too big or too small to not be a rosebud or a thorn. So we'll see you soon. Thank you everyone for sharing. Appreciate all those, getting a little bit vulnerable and sharing kind of those thorns. But always love to see the celebration of the roses and kind of the buds that are certainly excited. Looks like we definitely have quite a few other trips coming out. I do know the Northern Lights was really great recently, but love seeing everyone kind of making progress on their journeys. So thank you everybody for sharing. The rosebud thorn again is a really great way to kind of reflect on the previous week, the previous month, all of those things to kind of come together. I also use it as kind of a litmus test for what kind of maybe mentality I may be carrying into that next week. If I had a hard time coming up with a rose, maybe I had a little bit too much focus on some of the negative. So then I kind of challenged myself to find something good that I did every single day. Or if, the thorns kind of came a little bit quickly, but sometimes what I also like to see is sometimes, you had a thorn in your rose, but maybe there were kind of some buds that just didn't quite hit you. So it certainly lets you kind of figure out where maybe some of your focus could be, or how you can focus on building your weekly set of pages to support kind of those rosebud thorn components into some sort of kind of tangible goal. Thank you everybody for sharing. So now we are going to be on page 40 and 41 in your May journal. These are going to be the weekly spreadsheets. Please continue to share the rosebud thorns in there as you go. And then this is also just kind of the give yourself permission to ask yourself what you need this week, because you can absolutely use it as written, as listed, or you can change anything and everything that you need, cover it with stickers, cover it with pens, mark it out, change it, because at the end of the day, this is what should help you get through your week. What do you need? What are the things that you want? How can this help you? I don't think it's going to solve everything. It can help with prioritization. It's just another kind of tool in your toolbox to help you get to how you want to get through this week, or what you need to, thrive this week, or even just survive the week. So we're going to start on the top of page 40 with this week I want to feel. The way I approach this is I'm definitely goal oriented, but I always like the gentle reminders of, if I get a little lost in my kind of highs and lows and just existing through the week, what can I do to come back to, what do I want? What do I need? And so I will ask myself, this week I want to feel, it's how do I want to feel this time next week? And so sometimes that can be a single word, it can be a phrase, it can be multiple words. Sometimes you want to feel more something or less something. Sometimes it is just 1% better. The idea of kind of picking a word that you kind of resonate, and then maybe a particular definition of that word. Maybe it's a combination. Maybe you're like, I don't really know if it's a word, but I just want to be happy, like the little otter in a flower crown. Boisterous was what was connected to it, but sometimes it's just, I want to be a happy little otter in a flower crown, and that's what I want to feel. So there are just different ways that you can approach this. And also I would say, if you're kind of looking for some of that routine or consistency, if there is, your word of the year, or maybe you have a word of the month that you're kind of using, you can absolutely reuse the words from week to week, especially if it is something that is really just kind of hits you where you need that motivation to be. So it doesn't have to be something new. It doesn't have to be something different each and every time, but let us know in the chat how you want to feel this time next week, and we'll see you soon. Thank you everyone for sharing. I love seeing the combination of the stickers, but also that you're using words that you've got the same mantra for the month, because it's really what you're wanting to dig in and focus on. So I kind of, like I said, I use this as a grounding point as I kind of navigate my week, because that's something that I feel like I can control. It is something that I have manifested, and it's kind of the direction I want to go. And so now I got to restructure the week or set up the week so that we can go, happily in that direction. So now we're going to talk about the weekly major 3 goals. And so this is one of those that they can be the weekly major goals, the weekly minor goals. Maybe it's 3 goals, maybe it's 2 goals, maybe it's 1 goal, maybe it's lots of goals. And so there are a couple different ways to kind of break this down. You can break it down into categories. So maybe a professional goal, so that's something for your career. Your mind, that's something that you want to kind of emotionally or mentally remind yourself to do. And then a body goal, so if that's kind of a healthcare journey or something to do for yourself. And so there's kind of that way you can do that. And then the mind, body, heart is another kind of category, or maybe these are really the 3 top things that you want to do. Someone else wanted to do the calm mind, strong and centered body, or the creative spirit. So they had calm, centered, and creative for that week. So they were able to tie that in there. The other kind of way we do love alliteration. So someone was having miracle mornings, their movement, which would be kind of considered their body goal, music, which could definitely be good for their mind. And then the alliterations of productive, peaceful, and powerful, or the frog, fun, and fierce. We do love a good bingo board. So maybe this is where the bingo board lives. I love the mind, body, soul idea of then connecting the weekly to-dos to each of those. So each of those categories had those set to-dos that will support that particular goal. And then you have, maybe this is again where just your self-care routine lives. I also have used this as just kind of mental and emotional reminders for me to get through the week. So they may not be a little more tangible things. A lot of it is, rest when you need it, excuse yourself from the unimportant, hydrate. So those are kind of those goals that I usually set here. Another alliteration one is the learn, leap into, and let go. Trust for strength would be a good one, of kind of a mind goal, or even you can turn it into a body goal, trust for strength, because you want to focus on some strength exercises. But there's certainly definitely a way to connect these two. And so we will also talk about the weekly to-dos, because while I would say my weekly 3 goals do not change too much from week to week, my weekly to-dos absolutely change. And a lot of that is because the way I approach it will change based on what I have to get accomplished. So a couple different methods for that is the Eisenhower matrix, which is the do, decide, delegate, or delete. In my case, I cannot delete or drop anything because it is just me, myself, and I here. So a lot of it is delay. So I will do things, decide about them, I will delegate them, and I will delay. Also being kind of by myself, the delegation becomes a little tricky, but there are times where I obviously don't want to cook. I don't want to clean or do dishes. So I will delegate dinner or lunch to the takeaway place of my choice. And then obviously I have hit my limit on what electrical problems I can solve. So I will be delegating that to maintenance, or someone who actually has that skill set. The other way you can do it is also, again, pull some of those weekly goals. So you're focusing on the self, the home, and the work. And those are your to-dos that are associated with those particular goals. Maybe you are a to-da fan, which the difference between the to-do and the to-da is nothing other than that everything is to done. It was just whether or not you had a celebration afterwards. And then the Pomodoro technique is a really good one, where you can pick a couple tasks, set a timer, and work through those. Sometimes it's also just a recategorizing or prioritizing your to-do list. So someone has call, errands, follow-up, and schedule, or you can use the need, want, hope. Another gamification aspect of it is I have the pyramid at the bottom. I'm going to do my to-do list so that I can reach the top of the pyramid. Sometimes the to-dos just don't need to be there, or they need to be somewhere else. And maybe it's just reminders to help kind of build your mind or your spirit. Sometimes it's just the reminder to breathe with a sticker or a doodle. Maybe this is where you want to track kind of your happy thoughts, your roses, or your wins. Another kind of prioritization technique is the ABCDE method, which again, you create your task list, you organize your task into the different categories, A being the most important, B being minor, C, a task that has no consequences, D is what you're going to delegate, and E is eliminate. So similar to the Eisenhower matrix, but less in that quadrant form. And again, more of a listing. So that's where you, again, create your task list, organize them into those categories, commit to that structure, complete the task in order priority, and then go back and review. So a lot of times the progress that's not being made on the to-do list is because maybe you just need to reframe or rethink how you tackle your to-do list. So I know that was a lot of sections, but I'm going to give you time to work on, again, those major 3 goals on page 40, as well as the to-do list on page 40. We would certainly love to see how maybe you connect these 2 sections, or maybe you don't connect them at all, but definitely how you try and get through your to-do lists with those major 3 goals, especially how that's going to help you feel the way you want to feel this time next week. Thank you everyone for sharing. Loved seeing how some people kind of connect the weekly goals and the to-dos, but some people again keep it a little bit separately. Loved the change to the Eisenhower matrix instead of delete, donate is a great use for those. And Jennifer also included other kind of words that would go into the Eisenhower matrix. So if those categories don't work for you, you can do a drop, a decline, decrease, discontinue, delay, all of those versions. And I know that the chat went a little bit fast, but Jennifer did include links to the Pomodoro method, as well as the blog that I found around that ABCDE method. And again, a lot of these are, it's not that you're, it's not that you're failing to kind of accomplish some of these or focus on these things. A lot of it is sometimes you just need to kind of restructure or reprioritize or just take a look at what you have, because so much of our time is not our own. That everyone has the same 24 hours in the day, but sometimes we can't control what we can and when we can do it. So sometimes it definitely just takes relooking at it a little bit differently or making just some small adjustments. And I know certainly when I was starting to get frustrated, the fact that my to-do list continued to kind of have some of the same things over and over again each week, I realized that while I love the to-dos, they really make me happy. And it is certainly the satisfaction that I look for. It was certainly hurting me with on that prioritization or even the kind of how to figure out what task needs to be done first and after. So being able to make those type of changes and adjustments, I think is really great, because I think a lot of times it's managing your expectations, but also setting yourself up for some success. Because what is also, I don't know if it's a secret or not anymore, but you actually control what's on your to-do list. So that's what I love about some of the memes that are out there. It's like, because I put down what I want, you can get so much accomplished before 10 a.m. because sometimes it's, wake up and drink a glass of water. That is 2 things off of a to-do list. So you do have a lot of it in your control. And sometimes if things starts to spiral a little bit out of control, just kind of try to reframe or restructure. And that's why I feel like the to-dos can change. And I think someone else put it is that the journal can be tailored a lot to what you need that week. So it's definitely going to look a little bit different from week to week, potentially even day to day. And that's okay. That's what's great, that you get to start each week anew. You get to start each month anew. So you can always try new things. If it doesn't work, we go back to the drawing board and we try something different. It's a constant change of what variables can be adjusted in order to find that success that you're looking for. So thank you everybody for sharing. We are now going to move to that bottom section, which is the habity and the habit and activity trackers. I always tell myself I'm not going to do it, but if you hadn't been to one of Maya's socials, she combined habits and activities into habities. So that's a new Sonderism, but habits and activities. And so these are the ones that you want to potentially pull from your monthly habit and activity tracker for things that you want to do on a daily basis. Monthly is what you want to do every single day. I add the lens of reality to my habits and activities on a weekly basis. So I have 3 things that I always carry. That's move, read, and journal. But depending on what kind of schedule that I have, those are going to look a little bit different. I am quite busy this week, and also with going on vacation, I am absolutely going to stop tracking habits and activities starting Friday, because that's when the vacation starts and I want to be present. And so I'll be able to accomplish all those things kind of in due time. And that's what makes me happy. But it also means that my week is kind of front loaded. So I am actually only going to be doing the 3 habits and activities this week, which is move, read, and journal, just because I know anymore and my workload is going to suffer. I've got some work stuff, I've got some school stuff. So I want to set myself up for success. So we're tracking 3 habits until Thursday, and then I'm done with it. And so sometimes you can absolutely have the 5 habits, the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Sometimes they're less of like things or actions you need to do, and more of just reminding yourself to be kind to yourself, accept yourself, get that sleep, get outside, listen to upbeat music, watch fun podcasts. Maybe it is stickers. Maybe it's habits and activities that you want to stop doing. I am going to steal one of the ones that Jennifer O will do, is she will actually use this to kind of revisit the intentions or double check your tracker. This can be a habit and activity tracker for how you kind of work and navigate within your journal. So a lot of it is, did you do your kind of daily affirmation? Did you do your journal reflection? We also know that sometimes your weekdays will look a little bit different than your weekends. So maybe those habits and activities will be a little bit different there, and to incorporate that there. And then again, just because there are 5 lines doesn't mean you need to use them. I'm only using 3 this week. And so I think sometimes it's great. I always recommend adding in a fun one. We also include, again, I'm a big fan of visuals. So I love the Positively Present on Instagram. So this is their May self-care recommendations. So if you want to have a fun habit or activity that you want to incorporate into your habit and activity tracker for this week, or maybe a activity that you want to include in your mind body health plan, or a bingo board that you're using on the next set of pages. Here's this. And then I know some people, again, always on those kind of health journeys. This is the guide to the high peak May produce. So if you're wanting to, track or notice how many new vegetables or fruit that you're slowly incorporating, these are in the height of their kind of start. So these are usually a little bit easier to find in farmers market or some of those easily accessible. A lot of restaurants will start including those there. So this is just a fun, friendly guide to how to start incorporating some of those fruits and vegetables. Let us know how the habits and activities you're tracking, how you work, and maybe just kind of how you feel about this section. And we'll see you soon. Thank you everyone for sharing. Loved seeing and kind of hearing kind of the feedback of not writing the goals anymore, because that was adds a little bit too much stress. So Heather just fills it out as what she's done with no goal attached. And then Chanel uses it, was looking for kind of repurposing ideas, which I think is always great. Certainly ideas there. And then also the idea of being able to try out new habits and activities in this particular section, I think is really fun. And then maybe they can get the big promotion to go to the monthly tracker. But it's certainly something that can be fun. But this place shouldn't be triggering. It shouldn't be negative. So you should certainly kind of strive to find that balance of things you want to do, things that you're motivated to do, things that you know you need to kind of challenge and push yourself to do, but not to the kind of detriment of you're sitting there looking at it and you're not happy with it. That's why I always include something fun or something that you do. That can be something that just makes you smile a little bit. So now we're going to turn over to page 41, and we're going to talk about the meal plan, the mind body health plan, as well as the shopping list. Collectively, a lot of these do get repurposed, but I feel like I've now reached the point where I've repurposed them so much that it's almost like a magical moment when I use them as designed. So the meal plan obviously can be used as a meal planner. It can also be used more as a food tracker. If you're on that type of healthcare journey, I've used it to track intake of what I've eaten, to track symptoms. I am having to focus a little bit on it now. I've been a little bit low energy, and that's because I do run a little on the anemic side. So I'm having to track how much iron I'm taking either through liquid or supplements, just so I don't overdo it. But it's certainly something that I am now tracking. You can also use it to track maybe a one good thing. So if you have a little bit of a harder time finding some of those roses, you can track something, the one good thing that you did for your day. You can also use it as a to-do list. Maybe it's more of a meal plan for the soul. And so these are the reflections, the journal reflections and the journal prompt that you're going to be using. It's also a way to embrace the theme this month. So the trust journal prompt, so it's not trust for the soul, is kind of the repurposing for the meal plan. Maybe again, you're on some sort of healthcare journey. So you're tracking either steps, calories, or those different things. It's also a great place to include some of the affirmations from the app. Someone wanted to feel composed this time next week. So they asked themselves, how did they show composure each day? Same thing with you. Again, you can reframe that as trust. How did you show trust today? How did you show strength today? To embrace kind of some of our past themes with play. I thought the quest of the day was really fun. You can also use it as a clothing planner. I'm absolutely using it as a clothing planner as well to figure out so that I don't overpack for vacation or trip, or maybe it's a work from home and you don't want to see yourself wearing the same things. Maybe it's more of like, here's what the things you need to do to close out your day. What things made you happy. So we have amazingly creative individuals in the Sonder fam. So they did a haiku every day. Maybe it's you pick kind of a random word that you want to reflect on each day. So I think you can do that. The mind body health plan, again, something that can be repurposed. Maybe it's a mind spirit health plan. We love the alliterations of, a motivation Monday, a thoughtful Thursday, frustration free Friday. I also like the idea of asking yourself, you're feeling this way, so therefore you need, and it is something you can either reflect on kind of first thing in the morning or later in the day. That I feel like is one of those, like, again, like aha moments, is that someone actually uses this as like the reflection tool first thing in the morning, which I feel like I had never thought of it. To me, it was something that I did at the end of the day. So even just switching up when you kind of visit these sections, whether it's in the morning or the evening, I think can also help you change kind of its purpose. But maybe it's also just, you just need the reminder with those fun stickers. Maybe again, this is where you want to put those highlights of the day. The how did you care for yourself? Maybe you want to focus on the 7 types of rest, a cleaning log, which so much gets associated with spring cleaning. Or again, maybe it's a reading log. So let us know if you repurpose your meal plan and your health, mind, body health plan, and we'll see you soon. Thank you everyone for sharing. Love seeing the repurposing ideas. And certainly, and this is another one of those pages that I feel like asking yourself what you need or what you want is a good starting point for this. I lovingly refer to this page as the B side, kind of like on record. A side, which was the other page that we did, page 40. That's the one that I do every single week diligently. That's the tried and true one that I like. The B side is not something that I listen to or do often, but there are some real gems on there, which again is why I love the B side association. So there are times where it's really just hits the right spots, hits all the right notes, and it's what I need at that time, but not necessarily something that I do on a regular basis. And that took me probably a good two plus years to figure that out. But it was enough that give me the permission to do it. So I do get excited when I genuinely have a purpose for it, instead of just kind of only partially doing it, feeling a little non-committal to it. So that was just kind of where my journey took me. And then the last section on this page is the shopping list. Another one of those that can certainly be repurposed a lot. Maybe this is where your bingo board lives. The boring stuff bingo, the celebrate the wins, or the just for fun. Maybe these are just general self-care reminders for how you want to feel this time next week. I like the idea for ideas for mini breaks at work, especially for those folks that work in an office or have a desk job. Maybe it's a shopping list of the don't buy by. Maybe it's a Wordle. It's, again, a great place for stickers, affirmations, or something there, or you can genuinely use it as a shopping list. I also use it as like a supplemental packing list for some of the other like things I need that aren't wardrobe related. So making sure that I have all of my converters and chargers and all those things so that I don't forget. The one on the bottom left, they actually assigned all of the to-do lists and their mind body health plan and their weekly goals a point value. And so depending on how many points they got at the end of the week, that would determine what type of prize they got. So love seeing all of those. Fantastic. And then the other section is that I am loving. Shelby, love it. It's great. It's such a creative idea. I was so jealous and it was so meticulous. It was amazing. And then the I am loving, this is the ability to just kind of throw it out there into the world, the things that you're happy about, the things that you're loving. So I'll give you a little bit of time just to kind of close out the rest of the sections, and we'll see you soon. Thank you everyone for sharing. As always, we would love to continue the conversation in the Silk and Sonder app. We love seeing everybody post their pages, especially if you're comfortable doing so. That is where we get these amazing examples. And then also just as a quick note on that page 39, since we're halfway through the month, this is just a really fun page to, again, kind of talk about the things that you're loving, you're feeling, you're enjoying, you're anticipating, wishing, reading, watching, and planning. Because there are 3 lines. I love doing it at the beginning of the month, the middle of the month, at the end, because to me, it has a wonderful story of how my month went, with a beginning, a middle, and an end. So I certainly encourage everybody to just kind of give this page a try. It's another one of those that helps kind of sort of maybe with the productivity, but sometimes it is just fun to see what type of journey you've been on a month basis. And then, as always, we would love to see those pages in the journal. And can you believe that we have reached the end? I feel like these hours always go by so quickly, but I couldn't imagine setting up my week without it. Jennifer is going to start putting some of those links in the chat. I think with the survey, the YouTube link, all of those things for the YouTube link, make sure you bookmark it. These socials over the weekend will be available probably later on Monday or on Tuesday. So if you've missed any of those, you can certainly join us there. And then, as always, thank you everybody for coming. This is my playlist. I'll include a link in the chat as well. Thank you everybody for joining us. I hope everybody has a wonderful Sunday. A happy Mother's Day to those that celebrate it, sending extra love and support for those that it becomes a little bit challenging for. But as always, you guys are going to have a fantastic rest of your day. I hope you have a fantastic week. And I am thrilled to continue to explore the theme of trust for this May. I hope to see you guys at a future event. And I trust that you will, again, have a wonderful day, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
What we need right now is to leave it all behind. 2 passengers in for a wild ride, wanting to escape all of life's painted lines. An unexpected turn, who knows what we're bound to find. So here we go now, where we fall maybe. Don't look down, living on the outside. Just jump, maybe we're crazy, long gone, living on the outside. Oh, living on the outside. Oh, living on the outside. There's something to be said for letting go and chasing life. Adventure waits ahead, and we can do it side by side. If you take my hand and take a chance one more time. I can't promise much, but I know we're bound to find. So here we go now, where we fall maybe. Don't look down, living on the outside. Just jump, maybe we're crazy, long gone, living on the outside. Oh, living on the outside. Oh, living on the outside. Let's live right now and lay them down. Our worries of tomorrow that keep us from today. Just for now, let's take a lead. So here we go now, where we fall maybe. Don't look down, living on the outside. Just jump, maybe we're crazy, long gone, living on the